Hello and welcome.
You've been so busy too, right? So you're rolling? All right, we're rolling. I guess we're on. Okay, welcome to the show again. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have Brock Stonefish with us today. Hello, Brock. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Great. I was going to make sure we're recording.
Yeah.
Great. And you traveled here today from
Moravian town at Delaware Nation.
And that's your...
It's a reserve of about 3,800 acres in southwestern Ontario and Chatham, Kent, on the Thames River.
Great.
That's where the Battle of the Thames was fought.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
And that's where your family's from as well, and ancestral roots and all that sort of stuff?
Well, we originated on the East Coast from like New York City, Long Island, all the way down to Maryland.
Okay.
And we're a Lenape. And,
okay.
We ended up being called the Delaware people after Lord Delaware.
Oh.
And so they took us in, and Christians took us in, and we ended up migrating across Pennsylvania up into Ohio, and then late 1700s we ended up in southern Ontario. So there's two communities, Moravian town, where I am, in Muncie. Closer to London.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, and then we're also we had some that moved on out to Wisconsin, and there's also a couple communities out in Oklahoma.
Right.
And I've been on tour, and I've met some as far as Utah.
Oh, Utah! Wow,
and,
that's quite
and out in San Francisco.
In San Francisco,
yeah,
wow, okay,
I met
great.
some Delawares out there, but yeah, that's where I'm from anyway.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
and
we migrated to southern Ontario in 1790.
Right.
1792.
There seemed to be a lot of mass migration at that time as well, because like my family roots, now they're based in Cape Croker.
Yeah.
Chippewas-Nawish, but the Nodjawans originally came from the U.S. as well, and then came into southern Ontario. They moved up towards the Owen Sound area, where there's a lot of people. But I've also met other Nodjawans, again, across the country and across the nation as well. So I guess we've sort of ended up in different pockets of the country as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting with touring as well. You get to meet a lot of different people, not just people from your community, but also, Indigenous people from other communities, even from worldwide communities. I met some people from Australia and New Zealand.
I met some in when I went to New York City when I was 18. I worked at a traveler's hostel.
Oh, okay.
And there was some Aborigine descent visitors there, and I got to chat with them a little bit. And,
great.
Yeah, similar past and everything. So.
There was a lot of similarities there with the past as well, of course, with colonialism as well.
Yeah.
And then a lot of differences, I would say. I was in Australia back, I think, 10 years ago now. It's been a while since I've been there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting also to see the differences between how, I'll assume because of different geographical locations, there's different methods of hunting and preparing foods and all that kind of things. And even in music as well.
Yeah.
Now, music is big in the community where you're from?
We're like a Christian community, so there was I think there was 5 churches when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And then one got burnt down, and a group of kids, and then and my grandmother played organ in the church for I don't know how many years, but all my life anyway, and my mother, she grew up playing piano. My mother was raised in Detroit, and my grandfather was from Sugar Island, out in Michigan. And it's that island, if you're in Garden River, you look out into the lake. There's an island out there, and there's Ojibways out there. And they were originally Abbottossaways, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, he migrated to Detroit and worked in the factories and that, and raised my mom and her siblings. And she didn't move to the reserve till she was 20, 21.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like that.
Right. So like at what age did you first start getting interested in music?
I think I grew up around the powwows. Like my mom always kept us with the culture and that, and that was probably my first music was powwow music and dancing.
Okay.
And since I could walk, and I got a guitar when I was 5, and it was like a plastic.
Okay.
Nylon string, but it was it made sound. You could plug it in, come with an amp. And
oh, really? Okay.
And my brother had a friend, and his name was Brian Cryle, and he taught me Smoke on the Water. And
yes.
I think Cocaine.
Right,
and
right.
I could play those 2 riffs, say at 5.
Right.
And then I didn't pick it up again until I was about 12.
Okay.
So we moved to Peterborough, and Peterborough is a big music town, and and I had friends and stuff like that, and got into it and got a guitar when I was, I think, my 13th birthday. I got a Stratocaster, a Squire.
Okay, great.
And a little Epiphone amp, but I had an acoustic before that. I got when I was 12. But yeah, I really took it serious, and by the time I was 16, I was teaching guitar.
Oh, really? Okay.
So at one of the local music stores there.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And you were mostly learning covers, or had you started writing your own material at that time as well, or?
Well, when I moved to Peterborough, it was I was in grade 7, and the school had already been far off than what we learned around my reserve. Like I think all they would learn was maybe a recorder or something.
Oh, the recorder. I remember learning the recorder.
So I get to this city, and I'm terrified coming from the reserve, going into the school, and they put me on the alto sax, and then they had to hire a tutor, and they took me aside, and he'd catch me up. So I learned all the fingerings for the alto, and I played that right up till grade 10. So I got a good understanding of music theory through that. And then by the time I was kind of self-taught guitarist, and I took guitar in grade 10, and there was beginners and advanced courses. And my beginner course had Serena Ryder was the peer tutor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She just actually lives in the neighborhood here.
Oh, does she?
That's right, yeah.
Hey,
Sometimes I see her at the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, her and I, we used to jam, and she had a song that was famous at that time. It was called TV or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she'd probably... I asked her if she still remembered it about 10 years ago when I seen her, and she was shocked that I did. But she taught me. She taught me like a little riff, like what do you, you're just riffing on the 1 and you go to the 4 and then the 5, and then she taught me that that E7 chord.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was just a cool sound, and right from there, and a lot of my songs are kind of that chord structure.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's mostly now that you're kind of writing your own music and performing your own music. It's mainly in the blues genre, or have you ever stepped outside of that and kind of experimented with other sort of styles?
I don't know. I listened to a lot of different. I guess growing up, I listened to a lot of Buffy Sainte-Marie with my mother, and Joanne Shenandoah, and people like that. And my dad would be cruising around with him, and he'd be listening to Eric Clapton Unplugged, Jay Giles Band.
Oh, yeah, right.
A lot of Jay Giles and Elvis.
Right.
Elvis, Muddy Waters. And so that was pretty much my influences growing up. So
okay.
I don't even know I think when I started playing guitar, everybody was in Johnny Lang had just come out.
Right.
So I kind of went that route because of that.
Right, because that was a hot record that he had when it
Lie to Me, that record, yeah.
Right.
But I don't even know. I just kind of fell into the blues. And everybody else says, oh, you're a blues singer, blues guitarist. And I write a lot of different kinds of music, though. But
right.
So I don't know. I guess it comes more natural, I suppose.
Well, it also seems to be a predominant sort of popular genre with Indigenous culture as well. There's actually various articles and even a documentary about how we were sort of the original sort of creators, you could say, of blues music.
Yeah.
As well.
I think in my community,
okay,
specifically, I would be better off if I knew more Motown.
Right, of course.
Or maybe some of the old country songs.
Right.
But lately, I like I said, there was a lot of churches on my reserve, and I recently sang at a funeral where I sang "Sweet By and By," and I had a hard time learning overnight the song, but I noticed it when I ended up singing just the chorus, right?
Oh, okay.
The hook. I said, this is the best I could do if you want to hear it. And
sure.
So I sang that, and then I sang a traditional traveling song. But one of the old the elders there, I was sitting with my cousin at the feast after, and a couple of people come up and handed me some money, and I was shocked. And one was one of our spiritual people in the community, and another was a minister, and she just said it was good for singing, and so I'm not against singing church songs or anything like that. You know what I mean? So,
right. Well, especially if they're handing you money.
Yeah. I recently seen a video of Van Morrison. He was singing that. I was watching the video, and they're calling him out. I'm thinking they're singing "Into the Mystic." And Van Morrison comes out, and they put him in a chair, and they hand him a guitar, and the guitar sounds all clanky. I'm like, what the fuck what's going on with his guitar? Why the hell did they give him a guitar? It's Van Morrison. Shit. They have me on his tour, and then all of a sudden the band kicks in, and they give the guy a solo, and the guy's screwing up. I'm like, shit, did this band even hear this song before? I'm watching, and after it comes in, this guy comes out, he's like, and praise Van Morrison for your donations. And here it's one of those super churches. And I'm like, oh, geez, they must give him a pretty penny.
Right.
But yeah.
But you've shared the stage with many other great artists. I believe opening for B.B. King at one time when you were young.
Yeah. That was the biggest one.
And how old were you then?
That was 2006. I was born in 1984.
Okay.
So
I can't do the math, but 23. Okay, wow, that's great.
Yeah. So that was a really eventful year. That 2006. Let's see what was going on. So I get a call that December 2005, and I was working at the nightclubs, and I get home late. And my mom says, your brother's been trying to get a hold of you. Well, he called at about 3 o'clock. It's like 3 in the morning. You better call him. So I asked him. He says, yeah. He goes, people from Wisconsin, the Muncie's in Stockbridge, they got a casino out there, and they want to know if you want to open for B.B. King. And I said, holy shit, tell him, yeah.
Tell him I'll think about
it. So they get a hold of me, and I'm talking to them, and they say, we'll cover your gas, a couple of rooms or whatever, and at the Mohican North Star Casino.
Okay.
So yeah, I went out there and opened for B.B. King. I did 5 songs, I think, and 4 of them were originals, and the last song I think was "Walkin' Blues," that Robert Johnson song.
Right.
And then, my parents were there, my brothers were there, my older brothers. I got 2 younger brothers as well. They're from Sagamok, and they live in Sagamok with their mother. But so that was a big experience. I got to meet him on the bus afterward, and I just what I can recall, he just sincerely told me, "You're gonna have an interesting career ahead of you," and that always kind of stuck with me. And
right.
yeah. So
And then after that, you went on to perform like
That-
Ottawa
that-
Bluesfest and other sort of big events too.
that week, so that show was like a March 11th,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had applied for AMP Camp.
Oh, right.
And
The
then
Aboriginal
it-
Music Program.
Yeah,
Right.
And Eddie Robinson, he was kind of like my manager, and he was representing Nathan Chichu and
Nathan. Right.
And but he got me in touch with he's the one who gave me the heads up for Res Blues in 2005. I was on there, and then I think he pushed me towards this AMP Camp, and so then I opened for BB King. Next week I'm on a plane to Winnipeg,
Right.
and I meet all these artists. It was the first year they did it outside of Manitoba.
It was like somewhere
And
north
it was
of
in-
Winnipeg?
It was in
or-
Gimli.
Gimli, right.
And at this resort, and there were artists there like Edward Snowball, A.K. Martin, Kenny Starr,
Oh, Kenny Starr, right.
Jesse Green,
Mm.
just a whole whack of Leanne Goose. Jeez, this is awful if I forget anybody. But yeah, they've all become pretty successful from what I've seen.
Right, absolutely.
And there, I think Marty Ballantyne was one of the facilitators. And,
Oh, good old Marty. Hey, Marty.
And then I think a guy named Jerry from Seaweed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was a keyboard player. But they had, and then the fella who owns Arbor Records,
Right.
I think he was there kind of doing a Pro Tools tutorial.
Okay, right.
It was way out of my...
Right. And that was 2006.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
imagine what Pro Tools looked like in 2006.
It probably don't look a whole lot different.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
Maybe improved editing features now and
Yeah.
plugins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I remember first seeing Pro Tools before it was even called Pro Tools back in, this is going to date me now. I was born in 1970, so I saw it in around 1991, maybe somewhere early 90s. And it was interesting to see that technology. It wasn't as robust as it is now, but to see what would become the future. Because back in the old days, we used to record on 2-inch tape.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever went in the studio you had big rolls of 2-inch tape, and
I know somebody who tried to record. I was like in a battle of the bands, battle of the blues in Peterborough,
Okay.
and I won. And they were supposed to give me studio time and all this and that. And I don't know. The guy said, "Well, I'll record you." So they give me the stage one night, and he recorded me on VHS tape.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what the deal with that was.
Was it?
He must have been.
And it was an ADAT machine because
might have been.
also in the early '90s they had the first multi-track digital recorders, which was basically a super VHS tape, and it was like maybe the size of 2 rack spaces.
Oh yeah.
And it would record digital format, and it'd just be stored on the VHS tape on an analog medium, but the format itself was digital. Probably something like that, or
It's still
okay.
over. It's still all over
It's still-
my head, Mark.
Yeah.
I know Cubase 4.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm a master at Cubase 4.
Excellent. Is that what you're using at home, Cubase?
I got the Cubase 10, and then you got to buy all this stuff.
You gotta buy it. And that's the thing with Pro Tools, they've
Yeah.
lost me now because now it's like they keep wanting money from you. Like
Yeah.
you gotta subscribe to these things, and then they keep charging you different fees and so forth and so on. But Cubase, you buy it once and you own it, right? So,
Yeah. It came with I think it came with a multi-effects pedal I had or something.
Oh, okay.
Originally.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And before that, you were recording just to like a 4-track or
Yeah.
okay.
You know, when I first went to the States, I went to New York City when I was 18. And I went to my cousin. He got me a job in Harlem
Okay.
at a place called Jazz on the Park on 106th Street in Central Park West. And and this Jazz on the Park was like a boutique hostel, if you could imagine.
Okay.
For artists.
For artists.
And it had all this, decor that was, real contemporary at the early 2000s.
Okay.
And it was just after the fall of the Twin Towers, so everybody was really, really friendly,
Okay,
at that point in New York City.
Right.
And what I had to do was they gave me a room, and I would run their karaoke night, and I would play a couple songs on my guitar, and then get the karaoke on the Wednesday and the Saturday night, and then I had to work security Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from like I think about 9 or 10 p.m. to about 4 a.m.
Oh wow, okay.
And so that was quite an experience. And I got playing around New York City then, and then I moved to Boston about a year later. Lived there and played in a band, and it wasn't till I returned to New York City in probably 2004 or 5. I think 2005, and I had a MP3 Walkman mini disc recorder.
Oh, mini disc! I remember those. That's right.
That was like that was supposed to be the top of the line.
That's right. I remember when they first came out. I was like, these are awesome.
Yeah. So I had one of those, and I was recording all my stuff on that. And I had an agent working for Sony and EMI, and she had me up in a Comfort Inn.
Oh, nice.
In New Jersey on the Highway 17. And just outside of Lenape community at Ramapo, just at the base of that mountain. Anyhow, I spent my time in that hotel room recording on that mini disc, and then eventually we'd take it to a studio.
Get you closer to the mic there, Brock. We're gonna lose you. Yeah, lose the story. Sorry. Yeah.
We would get to one of the studios there along the highway.
Okay.
And it's in like Bergen County, New Jersey. They call it like the Malibu of the East Coast.
Okay.
And that's my story with my earlier recordings. Anyway.
Earlier recordings.
Long story short.
Great. And are you working on any new material now for a future release?
I'm revisiting original material that I've probably got about 50 original songs. And off the top of my head, I could probably play about 25 of them.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of revisiting the songs that I had that people were familiar with, and kind of tightening up the endings and maybe shortening a verse or removing a verse.
Right.
Because the music is just kind of probably because the music's become such fast food.
It is. It's very disposable now, it seems.
Nobody will wait for the hook.
Right.
And they're going to change a song, yeah. But I'm kind of aiming that way, trying to tighten it up. And whereas some of my songs have 5 or 6, 7 verses.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of verses. Okay.
So, yeah, I got into the songwriting and
Right.
And,
So that wouldn't be like on the radio. If it's like
no,
anything past, I think 4 minutes, and
yeah.
But I mean, it'd be a great album cut to have some of the longer tracks on there.
Yeah. It would make for a good live.
But everyone also needs a single, right? They need to sell and make money. So that's sort of the catch-22 there, I suppose.
Yeah, I kind of want to tighten them up, and maybe somebody else will sing them. Somebody younger, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you're still pretty young.
Yeah.
You're way younger than I am.
Yeah.
By 14 years.
Yeah.
You're still a young man. Come on.
Yeah.
Look at me. I walk with a cane now. Come on.
I got to tell myself that too. Yeah.
But I see you're also very active in your community. You've been having this guitar giveaway. Maybe tell us something about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of had an idea to start a studio or something, or like some kind of musical retreat or something that my community needs, because there's nothing music. And then I start thinking, if I start a school and I buy a bunch of guitars, and then all the kids will have guitars. And then I kind of had that idea for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then I ended up buying a guitar for a friend of mine, and then had a granddaughter who really liked my guitar. That I had a green Sparkle Ibanez.
Oh, okay.
And this was a red one, red Sparkle Daisy Rock guitar.
Oh, nice.
And they're made by, what's that company? They're made by a good company. I can't think of them.
Yeah, it escapes me too. I know which one you're talking about.
But yeah, they.
Should look that up.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah,
company? They make like metal guitars too, kind of. Anyway, so I just kind of let that one guitar go, and then I said, why don't I just raise some money and just get some beat up guitars and fix them up. And I know when I was growing up, in my teenage years, I was in Peterborough with my mother, and we didn't have a lot of money. And it was a big thing. It took my mom winning at bingo to buy me my first guitar.
Oh, really? Okay.
So she had to win jackpot to get that.
Right. And what was the jackpot? Do you recall?
Probably $1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was that the acoustic you got?
No, she bought me a Epiphone amp and the Stratocaster.
Okay. Oh, the Stratocaster, right? The Squire, right.
But yeah, I think about those kids, and then usually in those situations you're going to turn somewhere else to make money.
Right.
And then you get stuck in a situation you can't get out of.
Right.
And I know people who've gone that way, and they get so far as to where they're spending time in jail, and they get out, and they're so afraid to go back. They're taking their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I know somebody who just did that a couple of years ago down in the States, a friend of mine, and he took his own life because he was afraid to go back to jail. And just things like that, it's important to have like a guitar, because I know personal experience. If I didn't have that guitar, there's no saying what could have happened,
Right.
And I wouldn't be here today.
No, for sure.
And I know there's a lot of people who are in that boat, and I just.
Well, it seems
I don't want to limit it to,
sure,
because I call it the Indigenous Youth Guitar Giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to limit it to age.
Okay.
I'd like to be available to give guitars away to people of all ages.
For sure.
Because there are re-emerging artists as well, like
Absolutely.
myself.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And music seems to be the thing that helps people get out of whatever sort of rut or depression that they may be in.
Right.
It also, I think, creates sort of new brain sort of connections and synapses firing as well. And you're kind of doing always something positive with music.
It covers
right.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
It covers your spiritual side, your mental side, your physical.
Mm-hmm.
It covers all that. It engages everything.
That's right. Right. And you're using everything. Like it's a physical thing.
And it's
It's
enjoyable.
a mental, spiritual. Right.
So you can't beat that.
Right. Well, sorry, it was KMC Music is the parent company of Daisy Rock Guitars. I just
really?
Yeah,
KMC.
I'm not familiar with them, but anyways, so there you go.
Oh, okay. They must own the other company that I was thinking of.
They could. It looks like they owned a bunch of different companies. So.
Yeah.
They could own a metal guitar.
I'm just getting
company
into
too,
the
that's
politics of them.
Right.
Of who owns who, and
everybody owns everyone now. It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like there's only three owners out there.
That's right.
Yeah, it's kind of like the shipping industry of the booze.
Yeah, that's right.
There's only three shippers.
Or even for eyeglasses. Yeah. Apparently, there's one major distributor, which I think is Luxor. I think, and then there's smaller brands, but they basically own everyone in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why glasses are so expensive. They say because they can just set the price.
I can imagine what kind of money those people
I know. They're even more evil than the pharmaceutical industry.
Wow. Yeah, I'd say.
Great.
Yeah.
So, in addition, I guess with guitars helping out the community, do you see yourself down the road, maybe like you said originally, trying to open up maybe like a school or an incubator to support other artists, whether they be young or old?
Yeah, I want to open up like a school. Like I would even like to offer a course to just show people how to dress frets and repair their own guitars, so you're not paying $450.
Is that how much it costs?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I talked to Longbow.
Oh, okay.
And I said, hey, help me.
That's right. We know John Longbow.
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah.
John.
Hey, Johnny Ringo. And but yeah, he said yeah, it's a $450 job.
Wow.
To do that. So
Yeah.
So I said, okay, yeah.
And I don't even know what's involved in that.
Yeah, it just.
I don't even restring my own guitars. I have a guy that's
good. Stay in the dark.
Stay in the dark.
I'll come along.
That's right.
You ship them off to me. No. Yeah.
But yeah, just simple as that. That's a lot of time saving and money saving, as well as these people might go on to open up their own business and offer guitar sort of repair services.
Yeah. Just things like that, and just show, have a facility available to just show them how to studio runs or or how to jam, how to coach a band, how to work as a band, and just open their eyes up and just. Because I've gone through the venues. The school I went to, the high school I went to was a PCVS, Peterborough Collegiate Vocational School. And it was a lot of artists come out of there. It was integrated art school, so a lot of the students went there, auditioned to get into the school. And just because I lived in the school district, I got to go there.
Oh, okay, right.
And so yeah, a lot of the programs were specialized. They were equivalent to college courses.
Oh, great.
And they specialized in telling us how to record at that time. At that time, and when I was in grade 10, they were teaching that it would cost about $8,000 to record an album or something like that.
Right.
And I think that was only for like 10 songs.
Right.
But the teacher would run through it. So I don't know. I've gone through it. I went to Sir Sanford Fleming, and it was a course to how to coach your band.
Okay.
And I have that to offer, and I've utilized those skills for 20 years.
Right.
And
do you work with a regular band back home, or is it different session guys you need depending on
the last drummer I had passed away last winter in a heart attack, and I've just been having a hard time finding musicians in southwestern Ontario at the international performing caliber.
Yes, it's hard to find people like that, I think, anywhere as well.
And I think I'd have to ship in guys that I want to play with. And the guys I would play with are in Peterborough. Right. And there's a guy named Ryan Brown. We call him Rico, and he usually brings along his brother Marcus. And they play in a band called the Weber Brothers, and they also play with Ronnie Hawkins.
Oh wow, okay.
And but they're the best guys. If I had the money to bring them anywhere. Every time, it would be them, and I got a harmonica player, a friend of mine. He's actually chief in the Alderville First Nation.
Oh, okay, great.
Dave Mowat.
Okay.
He was just featured on the radio station Monday night there, on the community radio at U of T.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, on Indigenous Waves.
Yeah,
Okay,
great. He was just on there the other night there, But yeah, I would bring those guys anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere around the world, because I wasted my time with these guys in Southern Ontario, and we get 2 sets together, And I said, okay, I got a gig and weekend down in Wisconsin. Oh, that's too far. Whoa, I said, too far? I said, where? I said, I'm setting up a band to be willing to drive 12 hours between shows, 15 hours between shows, because I know what it takes to do it, because I've done it with Gary Farmer. That's
right, Gary Farmer and the Troublemakers.
Right. Yeah, talk about some wicked touring. That's
right. And John had played bass in that band as well.
Yeah. I was with them, I think, for 4 years.
Okay.
Johnny Longbow. Yeah, he was in there every time, and I think it was like 46 shows in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Stuff like
That's
that.
A lot of shows.
And you're driving 16,000 miles in those 2 months.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
And like that's like, yeah, that's
hardcore.
That's hardcore.
Hardcore
Yeah.
touring.
Yeah. So then when these guys don't want to drive to Wisconsin, I'm like, geez, what am I? So it's just you got to find the guys who are willing to drop everything, and it's hard to find that in today's society. You can't.
It is. It really is.
You can't live. You can't live unless you're. And the percentage of people who are touring who can afford to live is even smaller.
It seems like we were talking with a guest yesterday on the show how the different revenue streams are like shrinking for artists. Because back in the day, you'd do a tour and you'd sell CDs and you'd be making $15-20 a pop and you get to keep all that money. Now with Spotify and a lot of streaming services, the artists are getting like fractions of a penny per stream. And a lot of artists now really can't afford to tour. And a lot of venues, at least here in Toronto, have been closing one by one, unfortunately. And I heard the same for other parts of Canada. So what do you see the future of music? Where do you see that going?
That's why I was leaning towards the songwriting thing, because I don't see where it's going to go.
No.
I see where it went for Derek Rattan, writers like that. He writes for a lot of country artists, Canadian artists, and stuff like that.
Because that's where the money is collecting the royalties.
He's like, oh yeah, Doc Walker's first album. I bought my second house in Memphis off of that album. It's like, okay, I want to be like that. You know, okay,
Because you're working smarter, not harder. If you're just sitting at home collecting the royalties, you're not traveling, 12 hours a day, for a couple $100, right?
Yeah. And I'm a diabetic, and it's hard to get around. I just started taking insulin. Okay. And I was on insulin on tour once before, and I carried a little pouch, a little bright red pouch, and it had all my needles in it. Right. So because we were flying different places, and the security never bothered me at all with it. They let me on the planes and everything. Right. But it's hard to take all that medication, and then you're on tour, and then it's. So
you have to also eat during certain specific times of the day as well.
You got to eat the correct, and you have to take that needle at the right time.
That's right.
And you have to keep it stored at the right temperature. And
that's right. So many challenges.
Yeah. So like a tour might be 4 cartridges.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I see, okay.
But yeah. But those are the things that's when I talk about, I can only do so much. But you look at B.B. King did it into his 90s.
Oh, for sure.
He was doing one-touch commercials for decades.
That's right.
So,
right.
But yeah, some people just... But then again, you got to be those people who can afford those drugs.
That's true too. That's right.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, moving ahead after the pandemic is over, it looks like hopefully in the next 6 months, I think hopefully venues will be getting back to normal.
I just start getting because of the single I got on the Indigenous Music Countdown.
That's right. We've been voting for you, and we encourage everyone to vote for Brock.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. And. Hopefully that takes off, and I'm just going to keep submitting recordings. And
okay.
Right now, I'm trying to retrieve these recordings. I recorded in that studio that Blues Traveler recorded.
Oh, what studio is that?
I don't know what it's called, but it's out in the desert.
Oh, okay.
In Santa Fe.
Oh, Santa Fe. Okay.
Yeah, and I recorded four of my original songs there with a band. So we had a bass player from Colorado. His name was Vince Vidal, I think, and then we had a drummer from California. He was a younger drummer, and then we had a guitar player. I can't remember these people's names. Guitar player from Detroit, and then of course Gary Farmer was paying the bill,
right.
And we recorded my songs in 2 days, and one was called Priceless, and Butterfly Song, Turtle Island, and I think Talking Tree. And I lost the recordings on a friend's computer in Rama.
Oh, jeez.
So I've been trying to retrieve those with my fingers crossed, and the producer sent them to me on an expiry to download it.
Oh, okay, right.
So
right.
nobody else has these recordings that are worth.
But the producer must still have the original multi-track, or
I don't know. Okay. I don't know what
the
happened
studio must
there.
have keep backups, or hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think
Okay.
I think he got rid of everything.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
We keep backups of everything. Like we got everything as back far as I don't know. Whenever they started putting things on hard drives. Well, very cool. And you're going to do a song for us as well. What's the song you're going to do for us on the show today?
Let's see. I got a song called "Priceless," and it's kind of self-explanatory. Just yeah.
Sure.
The lyrics are pretty self-explanatory.
And it's a new song you've written, or it's one you've been working on for a while, or
it's a song I've written probably back in 2005, 2004 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's something you're familiar with?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one that a lot of people are familiar with. And
Great.
it's about just it's like all the friends that I had, different kinds of friends. And
Right.
just kind of, you'll
Great.
see.
And this song is on an album, or it will be on a future album?
I had CDs, lots of CDs before that I had recorded that were kind of unofficial releases.
Oh,
Never registered to SoCan or anything.
Oh, okay.
Like this single I just released, "Pounding on My Soul," was the first time I registered it with the IRSC code or whatever.
Okay, right.
Yeah, for international
standard recording code, I believe. Is what it's
Yeah.
Excellent.
So,
That's what you got to do now. All these these tech things.
I'm basically starting from bottom.
Right.
I've lost everything in life twice, and I'm just gonna have to jump through all the hoops again and see where it takes.
But the next time you go through the hoops, you're somewhat familiar with them, and you can navigate them. Hopefully,
I think I'm a hell of a lot
bit
more
easier.
responsible this time around.
Right. That happens with age.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing you play the song, and we're going to switch over to the live set now. All right, Brock, take it away.
Let me tell you about my good friends. We're gonna stick together until the end. Well, like a North Star, they will always burn on from afar. I've had a few who have stepped on me, never took Stonefish too seriously. Was like a riverbank fire trying to take on a waterfall. with numbers on bumpers, a cabbie's taxi. Yeah, the girls can be good friends too, but those girls that say they just wanna be friends can make a paper and pen companions with a music man. Yeah, so sorry everybody if I ever hurt you. I just wanted to sing a song about something money could never buy. And it's only drips, drops, and puzzle pieces, the feelings that I have for you. I just wanted to sing a song about something money could never buy. Some say you'd never see no redskin participating with no white man on a TV screen or a cigar store drinking moonshine. Yeah, but I believe in a four-leaf clover, 'cause my great and great 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 grandmother, well, why not? I might as well say she is an Irish princess. I left the reservation, fought some Caucasians. Now it's safe to say with no hesitation that this Indian boy can call some cowboys his best friends. We'd apologize to each other's mamas for the handcuffed sirens in the orange pajamas. Was like a lily pad frog trying to take on a science lab. Yeah, so sorry everybody if I ever hurt you. I just wanted to sing a song about something money could never buy. Of feelings that I have for you. I just wanted to sing a song about something money could never buy.
Thank you so much, Brock, for being on the show. And we encourage everyone to check you out online and to also donate to the Indigenous Youth Guitar Giveaway. And we'll post the links for that later when we post the show. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Miigwech.
Miigwech. Anishik.